What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Andrew Yang has been getting a lot of press lately. Some positive things have been coming out. Let's talk about what's going to happen when Andrew Yang becomes president. Because when it comes to the media, when it comes to the press, Andrew Yang has policies. You can kind of get the idea of what he's looking to do based on these policies. Obviously, we all feel like he has been somewhat unfairly treated up until this point, but I thought this video might help those people. Maybe somebody in the press gets some nugget of this video and realizes that Andrew Yang actually wants to do things that benefit them as well. So there's two things specifically I want to talk about off his website. This first tab is coming off of media fragmentation. So basically this policy, outside of the extreme cases of malicious libel, the freedom of the press is inviolate. Wow, I don't even know what that means. I had to look that word up. However, the fragmentation of our media is a growing problem. Different communities are receiving their news exclusively through different channels, resulting in worldviews and differing facts that rarely overlap. Now, this is kind of that echo chamber thing that we've been talking about. Basically, if whatever you're looking for, you can find, right? That's a problem, because if we all see the world the way we want to see it, we'll never have any agreements because we don't have any common ground. That is what this policy is designed to address. So this is actually a pretty big deal. Man's a thinker, what can I say? We can't decide on shared values if we don't agree on basic facts. We can't find shared solutions if we don't agree on what the problems are. The government should not meddle with the free press, but the government should support the major media and technology companies in finding solutions to these issues. After the Russian influence campaign affected in 2016 election, Facebook, Twitter, and other social media companies have started to investigate ways to mitigate these issues. The government should be supporting them in any way they seem appropriate, or they deem appropriate. So yeah, I definitely agree, man. We got to be able to find common ground. So I've been doing text banking for Yang. It's just been nice to have conversations with people to see what people think. Obviously, these are in specific areas. So I think we were calling Alabama and or texting Alabama, and just you definitely get a lot of similar responses. A lot of people were just like, I'm not voting Democrat no matter what. Other people were like, this is MAGA country, or Trump 2020 or whatever. But then there's definitely people who I had conversations with, and it's just really hard to have a conversation with somebody if they just are completely unwilling to hear a different opinion, but even more so when you guys are starting from two completely different foundations. Continues, as president, I will create a media responsibility task force with leaders of media and tech companies to discuss ways to get Americans agreeing on facts again, removing the hostile foreign influence from our discourse. Allow this task force to operate free from government influence. We'll support them, not direct them. This is not specific enough, but the point is the goal, right? The goal is to have common ground. That's the first part. The second part is specifically on local journalism, which I think is incredibly important, and it really should be benefiting Andrew Yang right now, because a lot of these local newspapers were basically put out of business, or are on their way out the door as a result of the classified section going down because of, Craigslist and Facebook Marketplace, and people no longer have to pay whatever. I think it was probably a lot. It had to have been like $100 or something to run an ad in the classified section in the paper. They made a ton of money off of that for years and years and years. Then somebody said, hey, why not just make it available to do it online? You can upload pictures and we're not even going to charge you any money. So that pretty much killed that whole revenue model for them, and as a result, you're seeing papers struggle these days. Yang is proposing a local journalism fund. By the way, if anyone from the campaign is listening, I feel like I should be able to take advantage of this. Your boy is already dropping the content. Local newspapers and websites are withering away in small towns and communities all across the country. The local newspaper is a thing of the past, leading citizens to no longer have a sense of what's happening in their local government, schools, or communities. Again, just being more involved in the campaign lately, it kind of prompted me to go to a city council meeting the other day. Being in there and hearing the issues that they're talking about and realizing that these are issues that directly affect me. Like, they're talking about opening up this business down the street, or giving this guy this grant, or creating this apartment complex down here. And like, these are the real issues that people most of the time don't even pay attention to. Someone had gone around from the neighborhood association and put flyers on all the houses because there was some stuff they wanted to talk about. So that kind of prompted it, but there was probably 20 of us, if that, for the whole city though. Like, for the whole city, there was 20 people who were actually there. The conversation got tabled until February. So once the mayor announced that, everyone just kind of got up and left. Like, most of the people got up and left. But I was just like, wait, we got to stick around. This is like real issues we could be talking about. Local politics is super important. And the reason why people can't get involved a lot of times is because of economics, which again is why I love Andrew Yang, because he always brings it back to economics. He understands the importance of this, which is why he's talking about making voting day a federal holiday and making voting super easy and things like the local journalism fund so people can get information very easily. Like, I wish people could understand how deep this guy is thinking, because it's not just about UBI. This is a completely different way of living. Can't have a democracy if the people are not informed like we are now. That is the beauty of the current system. You know, I used to be a bit of a conspiracy theorist, but then I slowly started to realize there's no reason to have a conspiracy. We have people in a great position where they're kind of happy, or they're super busy with work trying to deal with life. They don't have time to go on down and check out what's happening at the city council meeting where they're doing some eminent domain and about to take people's houses. Like, you don't even know what stuff is going on. Who has time for this? Like I said, I'm a freelancer. I have the ability to go out and go to things during the day and go see what's going on with this protest. Everybody doesn't have that luxury, you know, because when I had a full-time job, I couldn't do it. I had no idea what was going on. I couldn't be involved. I didn't have the time. For decades, local media flourished, supported by local advertisements and classified ads. This model is no longer able to support viable enterprises. Yet, the function of local journalism is more important than ever to give people a sense of their own communities. We should recognize that local journalism has a vital public function and support its transition from independent for-profit businesses to non-profit supported by citizens, local institutions, philanthropy, and the government. Yang touches on it quite a bit, where he talks about opening a business that might not make the most sense economically. You're not going to turn this thing to $1 million company. Maybe you'll do it okay in your local community. Maybe you just serve the needs of a few people. Then maybe that's worth it. Local journalism, if we just leave it up to just straight capitalism, it ain't gonna make it. They can't compete. So if we decide that they can't compete and that's it, then so be it. And if you guys saw the Van Jones interview, Andrew Yang said one of the smartest things I think I've heard him say on the campaign trail at all, which was,
I'm the last person who would say I'm going to run government like a business, because that's nonsense. They're very different things, and running the government is much more similar to what I did running a national nonprofit that I'd founded, where you have to have a vision and then activate energy and excitement around that vision and try and build consensus. That's much, much more analogous to what I will do as president.
Running the government like a business is a bad idea, because that's what happens. When you run things like a business, it's all about the bottom line, unless you have a humanity first type government where you're not focused solely on capitalism and profit. That's why these type of policies are super important. I will initiate the Local Journalism Fund, a dedicated $1 billion fund operated out of the FCC that will make grants to companies, nonprofits, and local governments and libraries to help local newspapers, periodicals, and websites transition to sustainability in a new era. As president, I will invest in a local journalism fund that will make grants between $25,000 and $250,000 to local media outlets, nonprofits, libraries, governments, and public-private partnerships to catalyze transitions to new models of support. In many cases, the grants will serve as matching funds for other committed support to demonstrate viability. The fund will be operated out of the FCC and be divided evenly among states proportionally based on the population of each state. Long story short, if Andrew Yang were to become president, so many different types of businesses would be able to exist. I would love to just do investigative reporting. I don't want to take freelance work where I have to go out and shoot something that I don't believe in for money, but I need the money, so I'm forced to do that. Like, that's always the challenge. I can't judge anybody by how they make their money, because this is the system you gave me. Yang is talking about just a completely different way of life, man. I just hope a lot of people start to see that this is bigger than UBI. This is way bigger than UBI. And I'm making this video because I'm like, why aren't more local newspapers talking about Andrew Yang? Like, all these local papers should be picking this up, because this guy is trying to save your life, okay? Your economic life or your job. These policies just remind us, hopefully, once again, that he's about more than UBI. He's trying to help industries that are failing. They're failing because of capitalism, but That doesn't mean that they're not important. That doesn't mean that they don't need to exist. So, in summary, Andrew Yang is looking to do things that are beyond the way we look at capitalism, that are beyond profit. He understands the importance of media. He understands that everybody can't absorb the media the way politicians or news reporters or those people who their life's work is not dedicated to following local stories and things that matter to people right in their backyard, which is why he's looking at doing things like the local journalism fund, so that somebody can actually have the funds to go out and do investigative work and report that back to the community, because otherwise your local news media isn't going to survive the next 5 years. You know, they're just not. They can't compete. Yang is for the people, and informed people, and the only way you're going to have a strong democracy, as noted here in the comments section, is with an informed public. The people who are benefiting off of your ignorance love that you're confused. They love that you stick to the echo chamber. They love that you can't find common ground with people on the other side of the aisle, because you're never going to demand for the things that you deserve in this country. You're never going to ask for legislation that makes sense, because you disagree. You have fundamental disagreements with people on the other side, even if you kind of agree, because you got different facts. Andrew Yang is looking to address the way you get your facts. He's looking to address the fact that the facts that you receive and the facts that your friend who listens to Fox News all day receives might be slightly different. With that said, if you guys like this video, make sure you drop it a like, share. Let's get it out there. Let's let these media outlets know, hey, Andrew Yang supports you, so maybe you should support him. Thank you guys. You have a productive day. I will see you guys in the next one.